Hello, my name is Chris and I will review the 2021 Toyota Prius Prime. I will discuss the interior, exterior, driving characteristics, then offer you perspective as to who this vehicle is designed for. The exterior styling, a model of maximum efficiency, once represented the car of choice for the smug and those that postured their green cred. That title has now shifted to other cars and we can now enjoy the Prius Prime exterior for what it is, a tour de force in engineering achievement. A few technical notes. Despite 40 kilometers of range, Prime has an air-cooled battery. Also, Prime does come with an all-important heat pump for our Canadian winters, which is far less taxing on the battery. Toyota claims their special heat pump is 63% more efficient than conventional heating, which is incredible. Note, during winter weather, my electric-only range varied between 20 and 30 kilometers instead of 40 kilometers. Also, the torque of the electric engine is great for city driving, and Prime can drive in all-electric mode on the highway. Very satisfying. Less satisfying is charging the battery every night. I stopped charging my Prime after just 3 days and was content to drive Prime as an efficient hybrid. More on that later. Also, on the used car scene in Quebec, I am quite a bit surprised to have seen so many Primes for sale. In the trunk, the battery takes up a lot of space, though the hatchback does offer the convenience of fold-down seats for large items. Sitting in the back seat is fine. Prime is now a 5-seater. Seating in front is also satisfactory. The Softex seats are as comfortable as any other compact. That is to say, they are comfortable for 30 minutes, and after 60 minutes, you begin to feel mild strains, and lumbar support cannot perform miracles. I only say this because my all-equipped tester costs over $47,000 tax in before rebates. That is expensive. Awkwardly, I read in many Quebec media outlets that journalists wonder aloud why electric cars are not massively adopted. It is obviously the high price of admission. The Jbl Sound System plays loud but not very well, and you do get some rattles when you do play it loud. The infotainment is a mess and was the least satisfying aspect of this vehicle. The screen is of poor quality, the touch response is poor, with small buttons which distract you from the road. The dynamic cruise control is perfected, but the lane centering needs a bit of work. The leather steering wheel would be at home on a $70,000 car. It's just a wonderful driver interface. I loved it. The driver info on top of the infotainment was easy to consult and had useful info. The driving experience is much improved over prior generations of Prius. An independent suspension feels comfortable. A reasonable clearance means no scraping of the front underbody getting in and out of the garage. Huge windows mean great visibility, and the Toyota reliability delivers total peace of mind, which is understated by car reviewers. It is wonderful. Also, the hybrid system in winter delivered less than 4 liters per 100 kilometers during my week with only 3 partial charges. Incredible. Toyota innovation and reliability are at the core of this Prime, and I love that. If you can live without leather, big sound, and this laughable infotainment, the base Prime is my first choice by far. The engine specs are misleading because Prime feels quick on its feet in the city. This drivetrain produces 121 net horsepower, and I can't find a torque figure. It takes 5.5 hours to charge with the 110 volt regular wall outlet, which is what I did, and 2 hours and 10 minutes on the 240 volt stage 2 outlet, which is not that necessary. The battery now gets a 10-year, 240,000 kilometer warranty. Reassuring. The fuel economy in hybrid mode is incredible, 4.3 liters on the combined cycle. Here are my thoughts on the road. Hello car lovers driving the 2021 Toyota Prius Prime. I've had this vehicle for a week and I can make a few comments about this. I've also integrated Ross's comments in my analysis. What to say about this vehicle? Well, on the outside, the exterior styling, I've been over that. Let's just move along. Let's talk about this interior, how it drives. First of all, during my week, I've done 400 kilometers and it's returned a fuel economy of 3.9 liters, which is freaking impressive considering I only charged it 3 times and I didn't feel like charging it anymore. I was just sick of doing that. So that is very impressive on those numbers, and we are in a winter environment, so that's something. The suspension now It is soft, it is compliant, it has an four-wheel independent suspension, which is really awesome. However, it is a bit top-heavy, and it is not very sporty, however, not distractingly so. It is very well adapted for our roads. Seat comfort is what you would expect in the compact class. That is to say, very comfortable when you sit in it. After half an hour, okay comfort. After an hour, you're ready to move up to a mid-size sedan. And that is like that across the board for most cars. I want to make a few notes about the infotainment. This infotainment, in my humble opinion, sucks. There's a lot of clutter here. The contrast isn't good. The sharpness isn't good. You often get a lot of glare from the sun if you get it at an off angle. I did not enjoy using this. It's just one of those things that I think you can option down. Also, the Jbl Sound System, it plays loud. There is bass, but it doesn't really play that well. I think if you're not into loud music, you can just forego the higher trim model. The battery does take a lot of space. In terms of the hatch, you do have the convenience of the hatch, which is to say, if you're only two people, you can bring your seats down and carry a lot of stuff, which is awesome. However, I just brought a week's worth of food in back, and it wasn't evident, I can tell you. The drivetrain now, I have to say, it is very sophisticated, and this is kind of where Toyota gets you. It's this total quality combined with their reliability. It just makes you feel in such confidence. I live in the city of Montreal, I drive around the city, and the torque of this engine really makes urban driving fun. The regenerative braking captures all the energy, and it's the goods. It really is the goods. And if you're somebody who's really fuel economy oriented, you can plug your vehicle every day, try to get the max amount of mileage out of it. You can get 40 kilometers. I can say in this cold weather I was getting more like 25, maybe 30 kilometers. So it kind of like made me thought. In school when we were younger, remember when the teacher said, let's put on our thinking caps? Well, let's put on our thinking caps and calculate this. This Prius Prime will save you 30 to 40 kilometers, that is to say, based on the battery only. If you had the non-plug-in Prius, what would that fuel economy be? Well, you'd be spending basically less than 2 liters, maybe 1.5 liters of gas to do that 30 to 40 kilometers. So you're saving what, $2? Every time you charge that Prius perfectly, it has to be drained, and you have to charge it completely, and you need to have like a perfect urban cycle to get that kind of fuel economy. Let's say you take your car out 200 days a year. What is that, $400 savings max? You could probably get the regular Prius. Or, as Ross pointed out, and I was thinking the exact same thing as him, the Corolla hybrid. Or if you want more luxury, the Camry hybrid. Or if you have a little bit more bucks, you could get the RAV4 hybrid, if that's your thing. So Toyota really micro-segmenting their alternative propulsion systems to everyone. And I think if you want the hybrid experience where you're spending 4 liters per 100 kilometers, which is really literally half of what a normal car costs, which is a substantial fuel savings. And for those of you concerned about greenhouse gas emissions, over half of what a regular car does, it is substantial. The thing that I like about the hybrid is you gas up once every 2 weeks and that's it. Whereas with this vehicle, you have to plug it in all the time. There is a short autonomy. And I understand why they did that. It keeps the cost down. But nevertheless, if there was no government rebate, I would say, well, why don't you get the regular Prius with the 4-wheel drive in our Canadian winters and you're going to be fine. So Toyota does make this an interesting shopping experience. One thing is certain is that this battery here is not liquid cooled. It is air cooled, so you have to change the filter every once in a while to maintain the longevity of this battery. Also, the reliability. Ross brings it up often, and I have to say, I feel it every time I drive a Toyota vehicle. This peace of mind that you have when you're driving a Toyota. You're just going to go change the oil and that's it. And that is a form of luxury that its competitors simply cannot compete with. It's also very reassuring when you have a new technology. You're kind of like, you know, Toyota's got you covered. So, final thoughts. Well, I think this Prius Prime is highly recommendable on the purchase, but also recommendable on the lease. And also I would look at the lower trim model without this 11.6-inch screen and this Jbl sound system. the base model, I think, could be very good. And with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you're going to get de facto navigation. And that is the review. By the way, if you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. And if you really like it, well, of course, you should subscribe. And that is it.